big man in a suit of armor. Take that off, what are you?
Genius, billionaire.
Serial killer, cannibal, mastermind, psychopath. Yeah, these are the top 25 psychopaths in the movies.
What's your trouble, sir? Oh, no. Well.
We're kicking things off with a legendary character in Alex DeLarge from A Clockwork Orange. Stanley Kubrick is a cinematic genius and always finds himself within the top 5 greatest directors of all time. However, A Clockwork Orange was banned in the UK because of its disturbing depictions of a fallen society. At the centre of this madness was the craziest one of them all, our protagonist. Alex's behaviour in the beginning is so wicked and unhinged, and yet there's no proper reason other than the fact that he loves him some good old ultra-violence. Yeah, there are some quite obvious signs of early abuse, but that doesn't excuse the psycho he's become. Even after the insane methods used on him, you could see in small, subtle hints that he in fact wasn't cured. My personal highlight has got to be the Singing in the Rain sequence. Considering Kubrick used such a popular song as the backdrop to one of Alex's vile acts, I can totally see why this traumatized people back in the 70s.
Daddy! Goodbye, Junior!
Up next is Robert De Niro in a negative role that he owned. Max Cady from Cape Fear is nothing short of a dude who has some screws loose. I mean, sure, he may have had some strong points regarding how his lawyer didn't defend him properly in court, but come on man, you did commit the crime. You deserve to be in jail and you didn't even do 20 years, so it's a pretty soft sentence. Anyway, he sure didn't feel that way and Bowden had to pay the price for it. De Niro is quite menacing as Cady, and while his attitude is easy to accept because of his gangster roles in the past, it's still difficult to accept that an actor like Robert De Niro would play such a deranged psycho.
I am like God and God like me. I am as large as God. He is as small as I. He cannot above me, nor I beneath him be.
The car scene alone proves how mad this dude is to get his revenge, further proving that he had no remorse at all for what he did to that poor girl.
Let's anything that moves!
Okay, we have a pretty twisted one now. Frank Booth from Blue Velvet is David Lynch at his most disturbing. Out of all of the strange, nightmarish characters Lynch has given us, Frank is easily the most terrifying. On paper, he's a drug dealer, but in practice, he's something far darker. This is a man completely consumed by rage, obsession, and twisted desires. His behavior is unpredictable from the moment he appears. One second, he's huffing gas from a mask. The next, he's exploding with violence or spewing vulgar language that leaves everyone around him shaken. Frank's fixation on power drives him to some of the most unsettling scenes ever put to film. What makes him even scarier is how much control he exerts through pure intimidation. And everyone falls in line because he's a force they can't escape. Lynch places Frank right in the heart of small-town America because he wanted to show that true horror doesn't hide in haunted houses or dark alleys. It can be living right next door.
Oh, Mommy, Mommy, Mommy. Mommy loves you. Baby wants to a girl.
This is one of the most unsettling home invasion movies ever made, and it's because of how simple the horror really is. Kristen McKay and James Hoyt spent a night being tormented by 3 masked intruders who have no reason at all for their cruelty. When Kristen finally asks them why, their answer is chilling in its bluntness. Because you were home. That's it. No grudge, no grand plan, just pure sadism. The randomness of the attack makes it all the more terrifying because it could happen to anyone, anywhere. Here's some trivia for you. The film takes inspiration from the real-life Tate LaBianca murders of 1969. These crimes were equally shocking in their lack of motive. That connection grounds the story in reality and makes the killers even scarier. They aren't complex masterminds, but rather faceless predators who destroy lives for fun. Just like Billy Loomis in Scream had said, it's scarier when there's no motive.
Please listen to me. You can stop now, you don't have to.
Ob durch das schmerzlos schnelle Schießen.
Oh man, this one's gonna mess you up. Michael Haneke's Funny Games is one of the most disturbing thrillers ever made, and it's not hard to see why. The film introduces us to Peter and Paul, two seemingly polite young men who suddenly turn into sadistic monsters. They invade the vacation home of George and Anna Schober, and what follows is a nightmare of cruelty disguised as, games. They're not playful, but rather twisted challenges where the only goal is suffering. The family is held hostage, tormented in every way possible, and eventually murdered, all because these monsters think it's entertaining. They don't care about money or revenge or anything like that. They aren't even fueled by anger, actually. Their only motivation is fun, and to them, that means destruction. Haneke creates the tension by forcing the audience to watch, almost daring us to look away. I totally broke during the rewind scene. I'd actually say that was a bit sadistic from the director himself.
Wo ist die Fernbedienung? Wo ist die scheiß Fernbedienung?
왜 이렇게 약한 척해? 이제 시작인데. 기억해둬. 점점 끔찍해질 거야.
Korean cinema really has hit its stride, even when it comes to showing crazy dudes going at each other. We all know why Kyung-chul is here, considering how merciless he is as a criminal. What's worse is that even without constant fear surrounding him, he makes no attempt to become a better man. He just finds another way to be evil. However, I must admit that Kim So-hyun is a bit mental too. Why on earth would you want to keep someone like Chul alive? Just finish him off and complete your revenge, my guy. He had to pay dearly for his mistake, but Kim was definitely enjoying the control he had over the villain, and this definitely puts him in the same category because he's nowhere close to being as evil as the villain. Maybe this is what pushed him to join Squid Game.
I was sent on a classified mission, sir.
No longer classified. Is it?
Next up is Marlon Brando as Colonel Kurtz in Apocalypse Now. Even though he only appears for less than 20 minutes, he remains one of cinema's most unforgettable villains. Cloaked in shadow and mystery, he's brought to life by Brando's hypnotic performance. Once a decorated officer, Kurtz has abandoned the military and set himself up as a godlike leader deep in the Vietnamese jungle, commanding a cult of violent followers. Maybe it was an offer he couldn't refuse, eh? Anyway, he orders atrocities without hesitation, showing no regard for human suffering and no belief in morality beyond his own. Surrounded by grotesque displays of his victims, Kurtz embodies the terrifying descent into madness. Even a single minute of his dialogue reveals his chilling philosophy.
Keep away from him! On the fucking floor!
I know you.
And number 18 is John Doe from Seven. This guy is one of the most terrifying killers ever to be put on screen. He's not an average run-of-the-mill guy, he's a serial killer with brains, patience, and a chilling theme for every crime. Doe builds his murders around the 7 deadly sins, and I don't mean the anime. He turns each victim into a gruesome display of what he sees as humanity's failings. This isn't random violence. Every scene shows hours of planning, careful staging, and an attention to detail that makes his crimes unforgettable. What makes him even more unsettling is his attitude. Doe believes he's sending a message this way. He sees himself as some kind of prophet, convinced that society needs to be punished for its corruption. That twisted sense of superiority is pure psychopathy. He strips away human life while pretending it's for a greater good. The real horror comes from knowing he believes every word. And yeah, that box scene pretty much tells us exactly the kind of mentality he possesses.
Faster! Faster! Now! Doe's on the ground!
Now, when I say that I want these things, I mean that I want them, and I don't want to have to ask again. And the last thing that I want, Nina, is for you to do the things that I ask you to do when we're alone together in your apartment. Not like the last time.
Next up is a man totally detached from emotions. Jake Gyllenhaal's performance as Lou Bloom in Nightcrawler is haunting, as he nails both his look and manic drive. Lou is terrifying because he kills, and also because he thrives in plain sight. After all, he's rewarded for his ruthlessness by a media system that values shock over ethics. The film pulls viewers into his twisted perspective, making us complicit in his ambition while forcing reflection on our own appetite for buzzing news. What makes Nightcrawler stand out is its scathing commentary on a culture that celebrates sociopathic behaviour as long as it serves profit. It's a psychopath story curated for the digital era, where tech amplifies greed, manipulation and exploitation.
Lisa Mays, Ben Waterman, Lou Bloom.
Hi, pleasure to meet you.
How are you, Lisa?
You remember Lou from the Benedict Canyon crash.
Did you kill Mr. Boz, Miss Trammell?
I'd have to be pretty stupid to write a book about killing and then kill somebody the way I described it in my book. I'd be announcing myself as the killer. I'm not stupid.
Number 16 will knock you out and probably take your life too. Catherine Trammell, played by Sharon Stone in Basic Instinct, is one of the most iconic femme fatales in cinema. She's a wealthy author accused of murder, but she never once seems rattled by the investigation surrounding her. Instead, she toys with the police, keeping them hooked on her every word and action. By the end, it's clear she was pulling the strings the entire time. In the sequel, yeah, believe it or not, this movie has a sequel, her psychology is explored even further with a diagnosis of risk addiction. Catherine thrives on danger, pushing herself into high-stakes situations just to prove that she can come out on top. While not the most realistic depiction of a psychopath, she still shows classic traits like fearlessness and manipulation.
Writing the book gives you an alibi.
Yes, it does, doesn't it? But the answer's no. I didn't kill him.
Bud, you can't go in there. He's in a meeting.
I don't know, we had a meeting scheduled today, sport.
It's time for Sharon Stone's co-star to come in now. Not every psychopath leaves a trail of bodies. A lot of them tend to thrive in boardrooms instead of back alleys. Studies have shown that a surprising number of CEOs, attorneys and media figures display psychopathic traits, and Oliver Stone's Wall Street gives us the perfect example in the form of Gordon Gekko. Michael Douglas plays the role with ruthless charm, as Gekko is a master manipulator who rules through intimidation and smooth talk. He embodies the cutthroat nature of corporate greed, selling the idea that greed is good, while crushing anyone who stands in his way. What makes Gekko such a classic psychopath isn't violence, but it's his charisma. Like many real-life figures who fit the profile, he lures people in with confidence and allure, only to exploit them for his own gain.
Hey, buddy. Are you with me? I need to know if you're with me.
I'm with you, Gordon. I'm gonna go get it right now.
Oh! Get it! Ah, you mother...
The next one will kill you.
Oh, son of a... You shot me in...
In at 13 is our very own Denzel Washington. Alonzo Harris is the ultimate nightmare cop. He's a man who uses his badge not to protect, but to dominate. Of course, he's played with terrifying intensity by Mr. Washington, so Alonzo becomes a walking storm of corruption, violence, and manipulation. He's deep in debt to the Russian mob and sets up rookie officer Jake Hoyt as his scapegoat, planning to kill him and steal the money he needs to survive. Along the way, Alonzo commits crime after crime, whether it's domestic abuse, armed robbery, or even straight up murder, all while flashing the authority of his badge. That's what makes him so dangerous. He isn't hiding in the shadows like a Batman fan. He's standing in broad daylight, misusing the power of the law and twisting it into his own weapon.
You wanna go home?
Yeah, let me go home, Jake. Come on, give me the money, let me go home.
Give me the money and let me go. Let me go, Jay. That's right. Come on, Jay.
Up next is a Tarantino film. Michael Madsen's role as Mr. Blonde in Reservoir Dogs is unforgettable precisely because of how casual he is about brutality. The infamous torture scene, played against the cheerful tune of Stuck in the Middle with You, captures Quentin Tarantino's unique mix of dark comedy and shocking violence, and I'm pretty sure this takes inspiration from A Clockwork Orange too. It's a moment that remains deeply uncomfortable to watch, no matter how familiar it becomes. While the film isn't solely about psychopaths, Mr. Blonde embodies one with ease, blurring the line between calculated professionalism and pure madness. Rest in peace, Mr. Madsen.
Don't
Okay, here's a cult film that most people don't know of. Hetty Carlson from Single White Female stands out as one of the few female psychopaths highlighted in a major study of film characters. Played by Jennifer Jason Leigh, Hetty manipulates her way into her roommate's life with terrifying ease. She's classified as the type who twists men's desires to her advantage, but her most dangerous weapon is lying. Hetty is a pathological liar, and she's so convincing that those around her begin to doubt their own reality. Psychologist Preston Nee explains that psychopaths will create whatever story they need to get what they want, no matter how ridiculous it sounds. Hetty embodied that perfectly, bending truth into a weapon that traps others in her web. She isn't loud or flashy, but her ability to destabilize and control through deception makes her unforgettable.
Door.
Yeah, this woman is a living nightmare. What makes Gone Girl stand out from psychopath films is how it twists gender expectations, offering a villain who weaponizes that exact same perception. Rosamund Pike's portrayal of Amy Dunn is both elegant and terrifying, showcasing her intelligence, charm, and total absence of empathy. Amy isn't content with manipulating her husband or the police, so she's manipulating us as viewers too, making her unpredictability even more unsettling. Rather than relying on gore or shock, this film explores darker questions about marriage, identity, and the facades people maintain. David Fincher gives us a layered study of control, deception, and the power of narrative itself.
I'm not you married. I'm not a quitter.
Kicking off my top 10 is a film I don't think I've ever covered before. Michael Rooker delivers one of his finest performances as Henry in Henry, Portrait of a Serial Killer. This was a widely praised film for its disturbingly accurate portrayal of a murderer's mind. Fresh out of prison for killing his mother, Henry wastes no time returning to violence. Yeah, this is the literal depiction of "Mother, I crave violence," but without the cute cats. The movie captures the chaos of his life, where murders happen without warning or reason. Henry shows no empathy, no remorse, and no real plan. That unpredictability makes him even scarier because his victims never see it coming. What drives the horror home is that Henry is loosely based on a real man who claimed to have killed over 100 people. Now, not every detail in this film is true, but enough of it is to leave you deeply unsettled. Man, Yondu really did have a dark past, didn't he?
Did I stutter? Give me the $50 and get out!
I'll give you
Here's a classic you definitely need to watch. World cinema has given us plenty of sadistic gangsters, but Tommy Udo from Kiss of Death takes the cake for sheer unhinged menace. Played with manic energy, Tommy is the kind of villain who keeps you on edge because you never know what he'll do next. He's smart enough to cover his tracks, but crazy enough to kill someone just for the thrill of it. That combination makes him one of the most dangerous psychopaths to ever hit the big screen. His defining moment is legendary, laughing like a maniac as he shoves a disabled woman down a flight of stairs. It's not just the act itself that shocks us, but it's the joy he takes in doing it. He doesn't care about rules, morality, or even basic decency. Pain amuses him and fear fuels him. One minute he's cracking jokes, the next he's destroying lives. That unpredictability is what makes Tommy Udo a perfect candidate for this list.
Faster than you.
In at number 8 is Robert De Niro again. Taxi Driver stands out as one of the greatest explorations of a fractured mind. The haunting, jazz-infused score mirrors Travis Bickle's growing instability, carrying us deeper into his mental descent. As Travis spirals, the tension builds until it explodes into shocking violence. What makes the film so fascinating is its ambiguity. Travis's final act can be seen as both heroism and madness, leaving audiences uneasy about how to interpret him. The ending only deepens the mystery. Is Travis a celebrated survivor, or are we witnessing his dying fantasy?
Hey, Gabby, you can't park here. Come on, let's go, move it.
Oh man, this guy is messed up on a whole other level. Matt Dillon delivers a layered performance as Jack in The House That Jack Built, portraying him as anything but Bob the Builder. He's an artist who sees murder as creative expression. Through his disturbing lens, Lars von Trier dives into questions of art, morality, and the very essence of evil. Jack's philosophical reflections often echo on von Trier's own ideals, daring viewers to confront their discomfort and examine their moral boundaries. The film isn't just simply about brutality, but also about pushing audiences to reflect on why they watch what they tolerate and where art crosses into obscenity. For those willing to endure it, the film offers a deeply unsettling yet intense exploration of psychopathy. But yeah, look, watch this one at your own risk. That sniping scene totally broke me.
Annie, whatever you're thinking about doing, please don't do it.
Oh yes, we can't forget Annie Wilkes now, can we? Stephen King is the master of creating supernatural terrors, but some of his most chilling villains are entirely human. Case in point, Annie Wilkes, who's the obsessive antagonist of Misery. Annie takes best-selling author Paul Sheldon captive after he crashes his car near her home, and what starts as a one-off act of rescue quickly becomes a nightmare. When Annie discovers that Paul killed off her beloved character, she snaps. She ties him to a bed, forces him to keep writing, and when he even thinks about escaping, she brutally smashes his ankles to make sure he stays put. Yikes! Yeah, Annie is terrifying because she's both unhinged and disturbingly real. The movie takes her actions to the extreme, but the core of her character reflects something all too familiar: entitled fandom, or as we'd call it now, standom. It's the kind that lashes out when things don't go their way. Annie Wilkes is more than just a villain on the page. She's a dark reminder of how dangerous obsession can be.
Such a kidder.
You wanna know how I got him? Come here. Hey. Look at me.
Heath Ledger's Joker from The Dark Knight. Yeah, you know the line that Alfred totally nailed. Some men just want to watch the world burn. That one sentence sums up the Joker better than any monologue ever could. Over the years, we've seen many talented actors put their own spin on Batman's legacy nemesis, but for most people, Heath Ledger's version sits atop of that pile. His Joker is the perfect mix of twisted morality, dark humour, and super sharp intelligence. The dude's not causing trouble for the sake of it, you know. He actually thrives on chaos, pushing Gotham into total disorder just to prove a point. What makes him so compelling is that he's a lot more than a criminal mastermind. He's often the sharpest mind in the room, and he walks the talk. Every move he makes feels calculated, but at the same time, completely unhinged. That's what makes him so terrifying. Ledger's Joker is the embodiment of chaos itself, which is why he makes for a great psychopath.
Drop the gun.
Oh, sure. You just take off your little mask and show us all who you really are.
Also, a personal statement about the band itself. Hey, Paul!
Speaking of psychos, here's one that's become a Sigma male icon. Patrick Bateman is American, and it's quite clear that he's very much a psycho. On Wall Street, he's just another slick dude, flashing business cards, chasing designer labels, and obsessing over dinner reservations. But once the mask slips, he becomes something far more sinister. Bateman stalks women, kills them in brutal fashion, and even treats their remains like twisted trophies. What makes him terrifying isn't just the bloodshed, it's how easily he blends into his world. Colleagues barely notice him, mistaking him for other men in identical suits while he hides in plain sight. Every moment of his life is performance, from his robotic music reviews to his carefully constructed image of success. Strip away the money and the polish, and there's nothing underneath, just greed, violence, and emptiness. Patrick Bateman is a hollow shell wearing Armani, a walking satire of Wall Street excess, and one of cinema's coldest killers. Kudos to Christian Bale for such a splendid performance.
Have you ever seen the inside of one of those places? The laughing and the tears, and the cruel eyes studying you.
Next up is Norman Bates from 1960's Psycho. Only one psychopath in cinema history has a movie literally named after his disorder, and that's this dude. On the surface, Norman seems like the sweetest guy you'll ever meet. He's polite, soft-spoken, and has this boyish charm that makes him instantly likable. He runs the Bates Motel, greets Marion Crane with warmth, even cooks her dinner. Everything about him screams harmless. Until, of course, it doesn't. Because just a short while later, he's stabbing her to death in one of the most famous scenes ever filmed. And that right there is the brilliance and terror of Norman Bates. He's not some snarling monster lurking in the shadows. He's the smiling neighbor, the helpful innkeeper, the guy you'd never think twice about. His brand of psychopathy hides behind an inviting mask, making his violence all the more shocking. That's what makes Norman so dangerous. He lures you in with charm, and when your guard's down, that's when he strikes.
People always mean well. They cluck their thick tongues and shake their heads and suggest oh so very delicately.
And number 2 is Hannibal Lecter, who makes it despite having less than 20 minutes of screen time. Picture this. Clarice Starling, a young FBI trainee, walks into a high-security prison and meets Dr. Hannibal Lecter for the very first time. And what's the first thing out of his mouth? He casually says he once killed a man, carved him open, and washed down his liver with a fine glass of wine. Now that's Lecter in a nutshell, a refined taste paired with unimaginable horror. He's the ultimate psychopath, balancing his intelligence, unnerving charm, and a complete void where he should actually have some empathy. Now, sure, he helps Clarice, but let's be clear, he's not doing this out of kindness. He only acts when there's something in it for him. That's the disturbing paradox of Lecter, a man of nuance who can hold a riveting conversation, but also a remorseless predator who butchers people both psychologically and physically. Tony Stark may be a genius billionaire playboy philanthropist, but Lecter is a serial killer, cannibal, mastermind, psychopath. Yeah, he's the kind of villain who makes every other psycho look like an amateur.
Oh no, I don't think Mix could manage again quite so soon, even though he is crazy. Go now!
My number 1 entry is backed by science. Anton Chigurh from No Country for Old Men is widely regarded as the most realistic psychopath ever put on screen. He's played with chilling precision by Javier Bardem, and he kills without hesitation, remorse, or even the slightest hint of empathy. Every murder he commits is done with an eerie calmness, as if taking a life is no different than doing the dishes. His pursuit of stolen money leaves a trail of bodies, yet he treats each death as some kind of mechanical routine. From the moment he appears, there's no humanity behind his eyes, only cold calculation. Psychiatrist Samuel Lestet, who studied over 120 movie psychopaths, called Chigurh frighteningly accurate, comparing him to some real hitmen he interviewed. Those men, just like Chigurh, showed no guilt or anxiety, only emptiness. That's what makes this character legacy level.
I need you to step out of the car, sir. Will you hold still, please, sir?
Hope you liked the video. Please subscribe to the TV Regent, and here's another video that I know you're going to enjoy.